Welcome to Breathe, See the Unseen. You will shortly hear from a dedicated senior homeless practitioner who shares their experience with people living on the streets. What services have you worked for and for how long in the homeless sector?
Well, I worked very briefly on it's all been outreach or homeless sector. I worked briefly on the streets with rough sleepers. The challenges for me were first and foremost seeing giant rats around. Uh, the poor people who had to live with them, they were bedded down and just pretty much got used to seeing them, observing the damages that um, they sustained from the bites that they had from the mice and rats, and my heart just went out for them. The people on the street would have smelly, pussy areas on their skin where the creatures had bitten them, and they would cry out in pain, and I just felt so sad. That's why it was brief for me. I think my heart couldn't take it anymore. But these bites took so long to heal. They That was the hardest thing. So that was my thing with the street homeless.
Okay, and from your experience, what does life look like for people living in the streets? Where do they sleep? What are their most common struggles?
So life on the street for rough sleepers is worse than over the years. I've seen it. I used to go out in the 70s and 80s before street homelessness was a big thing for people. I used to go out with my mum, and people used to be bedded down under like Vauxhall Bridge, where a lot of people where they were Vauxhall and in the West End and places like that. But I think life on the streets for us sleepers is worse than over the years because people's heart is not as kind as they used to be. There isn't a lot of money around, and the general public don't really donate as much as they want to, even. And the rough sleepers sometimes are not as kind as they used to be, and they seem to, because they suffer with complex needs such as undiagnosed mental health issues like schizophrenia, paranoia, anxiety, depression, and even Korsakoff, because they've dragged so much, their poor brains have suffered. And, Korsakoff is so debilitating. They suffer from physical health issues, possibly caused by poor air quality and, traffic pollution and fumes, more cars on the roads. Back in the 70s and 80s, there didn't seem to be that much cars, but there are more cars now and bigger cars as well. The gas goblins cause a lot of fume. The most common struggles um, are getting access to medical help, possibly because the homeless people don't want to be judged. I think I suffer with Bridgeport. They complain about tingling and numbness, and they get reddening of the area and the foot smells foul. I've seen rough sleepers get ulcers and gangrene and even lose their feet. Some people sleeping on the pavement, they end up sleeping on the pavements. And in tents, you see more and more people sleeping on pavements. They sleep behind industrial bins, by bridges, behind restaurants in the winter, especially in the winter, because the heating come out from the restaurants, and they do that so they could stay warm. They sleep in car parks, buses, trains, and now more commonly when you're driving along or walking along or on a bus, you see that they're on the dual carriageway and motorway. There's lots of, it's almost like a tent city. They sleep there, so that's hard to see.
Mm.
But like I said, it's they can in the winter they can get drenched for, and they complain about tingling and numbness and they can't walk. They have COPD, they have, you know, ulcers, they have skin disease because they're not washing. The self-neglect is there. They're not washing their skin. They suffer from, I don't know, headaches and nausea, anxiety, like I said, depression, and if they drink a lot, just to keep themselves warm, a lot of them, Korsakoff's brain disease, strokes, heart attacks. the list is endless.
How do you begin to build trust with someone who's been living on the streets for a long time?
Wow, difficult. It's a difficult thing because they trust nobody. They don't even trust themselves. But I think if you're walking around, you're in pairs and you're always there, you have a non-judgmental attitude and just continuity. Be kind. Just have a nice, kind demeanor about yourself. Just be nice. Just be kind.
Thank you. And what do you wish the public understood about homelessness?
You can buy them. You can literally buy them a cup of coffee, buy them a cup of tea, buy them some food. You can show the signposts to people, the agencies that are available to help them. There's quite a few good agencies around. I won't name them, but there's lots of agencies.
You can name them.
Sure. All right. The Thames Reach, St Mungo's, Crisis, the Samaritan, and the list goes on. If you see people on the street, there's Street Link. You can call Street Link and let them know, describe what the person looked like and say, I've walked past this person quite a few times and I'm really concerned. There's lots of agencies that can help. So giving money is not going to help.
Okay. And if you could change one thing, whether government policy or community action, to make a lasting difference, what would it be?
Oh, I think the government should put more money into building properties, gas guzzlers, cars. I think I'm not anti-car. I really am not anti-car. I have a car myself, and we need cars, and not everybody can ride a bike. But I think the government should investigate more about the pollution from traffic waste because it shortens people's lives. It cripples them. It disables them. I think, as a whole, traffic the way it is at the moment is killing people. It's making properties and the air dirty. It's causing global warming, greenhouse gases, you name it. Pollution called it smog. So if the government really invested in traffic pollution and not just punishing car drivers by going through a congestion zone, the pollution is always there. That's not the way to do it.